everybody, how you doing? Happy Friday. It's what? Friday the 18th, 4 days after Valentine's Day. I hope everybody got some action. Although, of course you did. You listen to me. So you're obviously intellectual, sensible, good-humoured people. Of course you got some action. Of course you did. You know what I did today? I watched Bloodsport. I rode through Bloodsport while I was sat on my rowing machine. I'll tell you what. Has anybody watched it in the sort of last 4 or 5 years? I didn't realise how Chad it was. It's actually, this is why I keep going on about how good Arnie is, right? As you all know, I'm a big fan of Star Trek. I'm a big fan of Arnie. Arnie's so good because when you watch Predator, Total Recall, Commando, Terminator, they're still fucking brilliant. When you watch Van Damme, Dolph Lundgren, Stallone, some of them are shocking. And they don't hold up well. Total Recall's story is fucking brilliant. Really good sci-fi, mega violent, perfectly timed, humorous quips. It's fucking brilliant. Bloodsport is fucking Chad as your dad. There's a bit at the end of Bloodsport, right? I couldn't remember how bad it was. The big American biker who gets his head caved in by the fucking Korean bloke. He actually tells him he loves him. Can you remember that? It made me fucking cringe. I was like, what? He's known him like literally the tournament's 2 days. Well, 3 if you start the first day, right, where he arrives. And the woman who he meets, the reporter who he shafts once, is like all over him. She's like, no, Frank, I love you. And you're like, hang on, you've literally smoked his hat once, and all of a sudden you're acting like his fucking mother, which is weird. And then the mega butch, manly biker bloke who like acts like a total savage all the way through. At the end, when he tells him he's filled in Tong Po, whatever, oh no, that's kickboxer. When he tells him he's filled in the career book, he's like, anytime, anywhere, man, I'll be there. And then Jean-Claude Van Damme literally goes, I love you, Frank. I was sitting there going, fucking hell. What was the director thinking? When he's there? Like, think about all this. Because when you make movies, you forget how many people are there around, on the floor. It's like porno, right? When you're a teenager and you first see porno movies, you go, oh, yeah, that'd be a good job. And then you grow up a little bit and you see like Euro Trash or something where they're making a documentary about it. And you realise that in real life, you're expected to shag some bird in front of about 30 fat blokes. And it's like, really, those shots, what get you all hot when you're a teenager, where it's like, point of view and some bloke smoking his pole. What you don't realise is there's like a fat bloke with a beard, probably got his camera about two inches away from your arsehole if you're starring in those films. It's not it's not pleasurable to do it in real life. And films like that, I can't believe nobody in that crowded hospital room, because there's way more than just the 3 of them there. I can't believe nobody went, I fucking love you. Do you know what I mean? If I was the boom mic operator and I've been watching this production and someone's like, right, now I want Frank. I want you to tell Frank, I love you, Frank. And it's like, how come none of them went, I having a fucking laugh? It's completely out of touch with the rest of the film. It's like the most manly man ever. Proper manly man. He's like, walks up to chicks on the bus and he's like, hey, baby. And he's like, yeah, I'm going to fucking kill everyone. And then there, he just suddenly tells this bloke he loves him. And he goes, yeah, you too, man. And I'm like, come on. That is totally out of the... That's totally out. I mean, isn't that what some famous actors get through off the project for, is arguing? Random trivia, because, I like my action movies. I do remember reading once that, I think it was after Alan Rickman died. I remember reading that apparently Alan Rickman gave a lot of input to the directors, and usually they liked it because apparently Alan Rickman was quite switched on. And the bit where he's threatening Holly at the end of Die Hard, Alan Rickman was like, oh yeah, Holly should be a bit more aggressive and not just be a sort of damsel in distress, because it's in line with the character, isn't it? Like all the way through, you've gone on how she's like a strong, independent woman, and she don't need no man. You know, she's a good character, Holly Gennaro in Die Hard. She's very, stuck in her ways and independently minded, and she's stubborn, and that's why McClane's so into her, innit? And apparently that's what happened. Like, she was going to just be the squealy damsel in distress at the end, and obviously Rickman said to the director, not really in line with the character, is it? Well, someone on Bloodsport should have said, "Fuck me." What have you got the hairy ass biker telling Frank Dukes he loves him for? Doesn't even make any sense. Anyway, yeah, Chad as your dad. There is some Chad parts in that film, but it's still worth watching. But before we start doing the news, and I keep talking about Bloodsport, let's do the giveaway, right? So just so you remember, whoever wins can choose. You can have the pen and ink drawing. You can have this Charisma crayon and whatever it is, pigment ink Christmas card, or you can have this cartoon about the Taliban blowing themselves up. You know the deal. I've got everybody lined up. See, this is much better organised than last time. I have got all 30 contributors from the past 90 days on my PayPal there, look. Hats off to who's the generous bastard that gave me 50 quid? Carol Suter. Carol Suter, well done, Carol. You're a top bootcateer because you're not a cheap bastard. And as promised, everyone's in the hat, including Gary, who gave me £1. So God bless you, Gary. God bless you. Gary's obviously a bit brassic, but that's fine. So let me just, what else shall I share? Oh, yeah, and I've got my random number generator. This is what I need to pop up. So I've got 46 of you guys to do spider drawings. Brian Pace, spider drawings. Brian, I could draw a better picture than you if I just clutched the pen between my arse cheeks and squatted over a fucking post-it note. That's that's what I think of your art critiques. So, there we go. Blue Van Man wants in. Oh, you've left it a bit late, Blue Van Man. I think the links are in the description. You'll have to get added to the next one because you've left it a bit late. All right. So there we go. I've got 1 to 46 on here. And then I'll tell you who's won as soon as we have a go, just to show you that it's not rigged. Obviously, the numbers are 1 through 46, including 16 subscribe star dudes, 30 via PayPal. As I said, don't make a lot of money. 30 donations in 90 days. That's not a lot of cash, is it? Probably about 100 quid. But anyway, everyone's on there. Let's test the random number generator. All right, that's weird. What's in this? I don't like that. You have to fucking stop it yourself. Oh, no, there we go. Roll. Bosh. Okay, there we go. Roll. 146. Let's zoom in a bit. Sorted. That seems to be working fine. Right, I can't do a drum roll because that involves that also involves being tech savvy, which the bootneck isn't. However, let's do it, shall we? Right, I'll tell you what. Third time can be the charm, just to make sure it's working. All right. So, bosh, bosh. Next one. Here we go. The winner is 2. That is fucking Gary Melville. Gary Melville with your £1 donation, of which I get 67 pence. Fucking hell. You know, that won't even touch the postage. You know what, though? Gary Melville is obviously the most skint, so he deserves it. So well done, Gary. Gary Melville. Gary, PM me your address and the word. What do you want? The word pen drawing, Christmas card, or Taliban. And you can have one of those 3 drawings. Send me your address. I'll make sure I get to the post office today. Probably have to do it via PayPal, won't you? So I know it's you. But yeah, well done. Well done, Gary Melville. Okay. We can go back to the news now. There's a fucking corking story on the news today. US candidate traumatized by bail for gun suspect. Look at how he can sell it, never be skint again. Are you having a laugh, Alan? Unless I get killed in the next 12 hours, I don't think it's ever going to be worth anything. Said him the buddy. Yeah, I think, Gary, do you want me to just send you a tenner instead? I'm kidding. I'm kidding. Let's not take the piss. Everyone gets a ticket. That's the way it works. We're an egalitarian channel, unlike the communists. This is an egalitarian channel. We don't judge people by the amount of money that they earn. So, speaking of scruffy twats, let's get back. Let's get to this story. US candidate traumatized by bail for gun suspect. This is fucking unbelievable. Unbelievable, right? Quintez, you knew he wasn't going to be called fucking Bob, didn't you? He wasn't going to be called Dan Smith. Quintez was trying to shoot a US mayoral candidate. Literally trying to kill the cunt on the campaign trail. I'll read you the story out of morbid curiosity. Let's see how the BBC, I'm sure they'll find some way of telling us that Craig Greenberg was actually a sack of shit and Quintez is a fucking splendid diamond geezer. We should all pitch in for his bail. It says a US mayoral candidate who was shot at during a campaign meeting this week has blasted the decision to grant bail to his alleged would-be assassin. Oh, that's not a very clever use of the term blasted, is it? I mean, fucking hell, it's not very sensitive to the mayoral candidate because he'd tried to blast him. I'd have used the word has lambasted, yeah, criticised. Trigger warnings, think of that, right? BBC, you guys fucking love a trigger warning. I don't think words like blasted and triggered should be used in a story about some traumatized mayoral candidate who was almost got his knackers shot off by a deranged war communist. It's just me, though. Maybe I'm a lot more sensitive than I thought I was. Nobody was injured in Monday's gun attack on Louisville City Hall contender Craig Greenberg. You know, the only good thing to come out of this is it's a fucking good job that none of these cunts can shoot. You know, if any of these commies were normal people rather than limp-wristed soy activists, they might actually be able to shoot straight. Like, and I mean, you think I'm taking the piss there, but it must, think about it, it's linked. Normal, reasonable men who do shooting for like a bit of a hobby, they aren't left-wing activists. Are they left-wing activists because they're ideologues? They spend all of their spare time being a fucking activist. So they don't go shooting. They go on Twitter and talk bollocks to everybody that'll listen. They've got an unending supply of bollocks. I was on there yesterday and I was astounded, like some of the people that have a pop at me. You look at the profile picture, and as I've said before about them being deranged, every single post I've ever done, and by the way, I probably tweet about, I don't know, 6 or 7 times a day. I don't go on there that often. They're sending 200 tweets a day. And if they're like a left-wing English dickhead, every single tweet they do is about Brexit. Like, it'll be totally unrelated to anything. It'll be like, oh, the storm's looking bad. And they'll be on there going, oh, yeah, the storm wouldn't have been this bad if it wasn't for Brexit. Like the fucking lunatics. It's all they do. So, of course, they can't shoot. Of course they can't. It was the same when that woman went up to YouTube, you know? Remember when that crazy woman fucking tried to shoot up YouTube? If that was the fucking Angry Bootneck, if that was somebody who's not a fucking soy activist, if it was a normal person who actually went to the range every now and then, you'd see some fucking havoc wreaked. I guarantee you that. Do you think I'd go and try to shoot 20 people and miss them all? I don't think so. So they just best be pleased that the class of people that we've turned into terrorists by indoctrinating them for the last 5 years can't fucking shoot straight because they've got forearms, they're reedy forearms and limp wrists from all that soy protein. of just, I mean, thank fuck for that, because again, reasonable centrists like me and thee, we don't want to see anybody get killed. The only people that have been pathologized by unending indoctrination by the media in Silicon Valley are the far left. It's not the far right. So again, right, isn't that funny? They criticize people like me, a reasonable centrist person that says we should always think before we act on anything. And they criticize me. But what the last couple of years has proved, because of the political leanings of all of the psychos, whether it's Quintez Brown, whether it's the guy who drove his car through a fucking parade of women and kids a few weeks back, whether it's the fucking lunatic who's trying to shoot up YouTube, they're all woke activists who've been deranged and indoctrinated by the mainstream media in Silicon Valley. Like, they endlessly push hatred. They also tried to kill a Republican congressman, right? A few years ago at a baseball game. You never get right-wing fucking terror. The only far-right terrorists you get now are regulars at Allen's world-famous fucking snack bar, which is comical to me, isn't it? Because I keep telling them, by definition, those people are conservative. If you're a fucking devout religious extremist, by definition, you are very, very, very conservative, right? Osama bin Laden wasn't left-wing, right? Osama bin Laden was very, very, very right-wing. The only right-wing terrorists you get now are the one group of fucking people that Silicon Valley, the London Mayor, Boris Johnson, Priti Patel, the BBC, Sky News, Channel 4, The Guardian will never say anything bad about, because they happen to have a bit of a tan and follow one very specific religious ideology that you're not allowed to criticize anymore. So this is why we're fucked. The whole world is engaged in a race to the bottom, whether you're talking about the education system, hiring practices for businesses, or, and this is the most serious of them all, indoctrinating people. The right wing has been dragged to the center because all of the disenfranchised liberals like me, and I mean, I think it's probably most of those called right wing now. Sargon of Akkad is left of center. He's definitely a disenfranchised liberal, just knowing his political opinions from watching him. Viva Fry, the YouTube, like, the guy's a liberal. All the big YouTubers are liberal. Salty Cracker's probably an old school American Republican, or someone like Ben Shapiro, because he's religious, very conservative. But most of them have dragged the right, the American Christian right has been dragged to the center. Because people like me and Sargon and all the fucking under 40s from around the rest of the world have got no time for devout religious theism. So they've been pulled to the center. And now when you get people like, I mean, Sadwings is a good example. He's a proper old school American Republican. Now you get them on things like gay marriage and they go, you know what? I'm not that bothered. I'm not that bothered. I'm not interested in having a go at gay people. I'm not interested in, you know, telling everybody about sin and fornication. I'm not that bothered about drugs and drink and vice. You fucking knock yourselves out. I disagree with your lifestyle choices, but you knock yourselves out. That's what the right is now. So the right is constantly, Joe Rogan, another one, they're demonizing him. The right is constantly engaged in discourse, talking about things. Loads. Joe Rogan talks to everybody, and all his listeners talk to everybody. Jordan Peterson talks to everybody. They're all reasonable. The center and the right, and even the very devout religious Republican conservatives in America, are now as tolerant and as reasonable as you could imagine. So they used to be, yeah, no surprise, no surprise. I'm a left. I consider myself center left. I always have done. We're pulling the right to the center. There's only one group of people getting extrematized now, right? Indoctrinated, turned into ideologues, screaming fucking ideologues who don't care about anything. Don't care about the hobbies, don't care about the family and the friends and the social lives. All they fucking care about 24/7 is pushing their ideology. Like I said, the broad church is the Conservative Party. Well, fucking not the Conservative Party, not ours. It's the fucking, because they're all woke. Actual conservatives, centrist, centre-right, centre-left. That's the real intersectionality umbrella. It's everybody that isn't a woke communist. And isn't it insane? You know, my channel's been totally annihilated by YouTube. They don't show it to anybody. They picked on Sargon of Akkad and drove him off the platform. They're doing everything they can to silence the one group of people that shouldn't be getting silenced. Like, seriously, people like me, Salty Cracker, Sargon of Akkad, we got a problem. Simon Sideways, Paz, Viva Fry, all the people maligned, Joe Rogan, Jordan Peterson, all the people being maligned are totally reasonable. And they just say, we just want to talk. We just want to have this open community of ideas. Jordan Peterson goes and debates with Sam Harris for fucking 2 hours. And at the end of it, they go, oh, yeah, Sam Harris, he's far right. Yeah. Sam Harris, who went on telly. I used to follow Sam Harris because I'm from that generation where, 15 years ago, I was watching The Four Horsemen on YouTube. Sam Harris is a lifelong liberal. And they see him having a chat with Jordan Peterson. And at the end of it, they go, because Sam Harris talked to Jordan Peterson, who's not far right, Sam Harris is far right. You couldn't make this shit up. Like, they've gone fucking mad. And they are brainwashing and indoctrinating the next generation of extremists. And dare I say, that's not a very fucking wise thing to do. Controversial, I know. And, oh yeah, have you seen the state of my channel, by the way? I mean, I'll just show you out of interest before I go back to this story. Before fucking Susan started fucking with me, I was getting, look at that, 17,000 views on my Batcha Bazzy video, 16,000 on my Me Again Whinging, 10,000 Newton BLM. I was doing the BBC Spews 15 months ago and getting 8,000 views. And now I put them out and I don't even hit 2, right? And what you've got to ask yourself when these people say, "Oh yeah, we're not shadow banning people," even though it's a known fact because they do it to fucking famous people like Jordan Peterson and Senator Ted Cruz and Marco Rubio and people that are actually known around the world. Donald fucking Trump threw him off the platform. They literally threw him off Twitter. Although no, I used literally wrong there, didn't I? They didn't literally throw him off Twitter. Because that Twitter would have to be a physical thing. You have to pick him up and throw him off the cunt. They threw his digital persona off Twitter when you've had terrorist groups up there. Like you've had ISIS using the fucking thing. The Taliban are on Twitter. So they throw the most famous man in the world off Twitter and then go, we don't ban people we don't like. We don't ban people we don't like. It's fucking lunacy. So yeah, fuck YouTube. My point is, they're picking on the wrong people. They're attacking me, reasonable as fuck. There's like, 500 hours of content you can go back and watch that I've made. None of it's unreasonable. I just keep saying, let's let people decide things for themselves. Let's let gay people get married and let's get conservative people not have anything to do with it and not be forced into baking cakes for them. Because there's thousands of agnostic atheist cake makers who've got no religious problem with them and they can make them for them. The system works. If you just give everybody the freedom to do whatever they want, the world's a better place. And if you give everybody the freedom to debate each other, the world's a better place. And instead, we're dealing with a situation where reasonable people, none of them are unreasonable. None of them people have reeled off. None of them. John Peterson and Joe Rogan and Sam Harris, they're not unreasonable. They always just say, let's talk, man. Let's talk. Those fucking people get slammed by the mainstream media, Silicon Valley, the fucking horrible bastards that run fucking YouTube and have successfully made me, who is on this fucking platform and wants to work with them and wants to help make the platform successful. They've made me hate them because they malign you on purpose. They fuck with you. They lie to you. I believe the lefty term is gaslighting you. Like they shut you down, ban your fucking work, delete your work that you spent hours making, and then email you and say, we don't do that. What are you talking about? Like, it makes you hate them because it's unfair. And that's why that lass went up there with a fucking revolver. And it's just a good job she was a lefty. And obviously she couldn't hit a cow's ass with a shovel. They make you hate them with their intolerance and their zealotry. and their aggression, their unending aggression and remorseless, pitiless hatred for reasonable people for the crime of disagreeing with communists. And then every fucking week, there's another example of some twat like Quintez attempting to fucking murder someone who's reasonable. You don't have to like the Republicans. Shit, I don't like plenty of Republicans. Like I said, I'm a natural liberal. I'm naturally left-leaning. I don't like people like Ted Cruz. I think he's a self-serving politician who'll say whatever he wants to get elected. But you don't have to like the guy. You just have to not want to fucking shoot the cunt. Again, how am I the unreasonable one? You don't have to like him. You just have to not want to kill him, right? But they can't bring themselves to do even that. Just don't kill him. That's right, Quintez, and all your fucking lefty commie mates who think it's acceptable to hurt people. You can hate him. I support your right to hate him. Go on Twitter and send him a message and say, I fucking hate you, mate. I hate everything you stand for. I hate your politics. I hate you divisive, which is hilarious. They call everybody else that. Do whatever you want. But stop trying to kill people. I mean, fuck me. As if a bootneck whose job for 10 years was to kill people on behalf of the state, as if I've got to be the peacemaker. It's like, Jesus Christ. I never thought I was a natural peacemaker. Turns out I'm like fucking Picard. I'm a visionary genius when it comes to diplomacy. You know what I mean? Quintez, just send him an angry letter. Fucking vent, mate. Just calm the fuck down. So this is what I don't understand. It really is bad. And I'm not ranting about it like Mr. Kant says there, because again, it's hilarious them attempting to appropriate the term snowflake, by the way, isn't it? It's hilarious. It's like, you were the ones who demanded trigger warnings and safe spaces. All we've ever said is, we don't like you, dickheads, and we don't agree with you. Disagreeing with a communist doesn't make you a fucking snowflake. It makes you not a communist. It's very simple. And what I'm saying is, Quintez gets emboldened and brainwashed and indoctrinated by the very people that warn us about indoctrination. YouTube, Facebook, Twitter, Google, BBC, Sky News, Guardian, New York Times, Washington Post. They push hateful rhetoric 24/7. They otherize. They say these people are all Nazis, they're all fascists, they're all evil. If you constantly tell everybody that the people opposing you politically are fascists and Nazis and evil, of course they're going to think it's acceptable to kill them. Of course they are. You've been telling them that people like me, and again, you guys know because you've watched me for 500 hours, I'm reasonable. Like, I think I could be talked into anything if they fucking did a good enough job of it. But they'll tell people that I'm evil and that I'm a fascist and that I'm a Nazi. And obviously, shit for brains Quintez will see that and go, well, he deserves to get killed then. And I understand it. If you believe it with every fibre of your being, then of course you think it's acceptable to hurt me because you think I'm an evil person. You think I'm a genuinely bad person. But this is what I'm saying. It's mental that someone like, well, there's a good example from Blue Van Man, yeah. Someone like Nick Clegg, who should have his finger on the pulse because he was the Deputy Prime Minister. Why hasn't somebody like Nick Clegg said, listen, we are conditioning people to become violent. The rhetoric against Trump, the severed heads on the front of magazines, the unending rhetoric about Trump being a fascist Nazi. People are going to want to hurt him. And this fucker who drove a car through the Christmas market, the people who say they're trying to stop extremism are creating extremists. There's not that many far-right extremists now because you can't get away with saying anything that could be classed as indoctrination. People like Sargon get through off YouTube and they're not even conservative. They just aren't. Not once has Joe Rogan or Jordan Peterson or Sargon of Akkad or any of them ever promoted anything violent. Simon Sideways, Paz, all the people who get fucked over, we got a problem. They don't ever say your enemies are evil and you should hurt them. Because if they get anywhere near a line that's very, very left of centre, they get through off the platform. But when the far left talk about Nazis and fascists constantly, they just let them get away with it. So it staggers me that we keep seeing violence on behalf of the far left, and all we're concentrating on is the far right. Like, still, the death toll is fucking staggering. It's the same with the lads who go to Alan's fantastic snack bar, isn't it? The death toll's massive. Especially in the UK. I mean, in the UK, I don't know how many people white nationalists have murdered in the UK in the last 20 years, but I would guess it's in single digits, right? Is that a fair estimate? Probably in single digits. Again, one's too many, but you've got to be pragmatic. We live in a real world, a violent world full of fully evolved chimps in clothes. We're all just fucking chimps in clothes, and we're violent, and we've got big adrenal glands, and we're sweaty, and we're aggressive. But one or two over a couple of years, and yet when Ariana Grande concert gets blew up, or women and kids get killed, 7/7, London Bridge, numerous in France, fucking France, Nice, hundreds of people getting fucked. And then you'll go, oh no, well, we're worried about the white nationalists in France. It's like, just look at the death toll. This is what I keep saying to everybody who wants to listen. Look, geez, anti. No, I'm not anti. I'm anti-murder. And I'm telling you, count up all of the deaths. Again, let's not waste our time with opinions. Can't. Let's just do numbers, right? Maths doesn't lie. Count up how many people have been killed by religious extremists in France in the last 10 years, and then count how many people have been killed by white nationalists, and then there's your answer. And whichever number's the highest, this is controversial, no, whichever number's the highest should be the problem that we decide is the biggest problem, and we bend the will of the state and Silicon Valley and the mainstream media to helping get rid of it. Is that intolerant? Dead simple, isn't it? Just do that. Just count the numbers. Let's not argue. Let's not fall out over a complex theological debate. Let's just count the numbers. Do the same in America. America, it's probably harder because they have a lot lower population that follows the religion of pieces. And it's a much more diverse population in general. But certainly in Europe, it's mind-blowing to me that you can see the numbers in black and white. You can see how much, somewhere like Britain, it's off the charts. You can see the deaths caused by white nationalists in Britain, and you can see the deaths caused by the followers of the religion of the little short-arsed fucking desert peasant. And there's your answer. Who said that? I can't just keep arguing with this fucking lunatic. No, nobody said that. They are all. Anybody who has a brain cell, two brain cells to rub together, is well aware that considering there's about 2.5 million practitioners, and he's probably less than 1% violent, but it's irrelevant, isn't it? Your numbers are irrelevant. We talk about how even one death is too many. The numbers are irrelevant when you're talking about practitioners. We're talking about the end product. If there's a few hundred women and kids every fucking few years getting killed in places like France, then the government's resources shouldn't be wasted on trying to fix the far-right white racist problem, should they? It's simple. It's a numbers game. So, yeah. Yakub's in. Yakub, I think Yakub's one of my first... Yakub's obviously a based practitioner. Right. So I'll carry on with the story. But it's insane. Nobody was injured because he can't shoot. And this is where it gets good. So he's a full-blown left-wing activist. 21-year-old as well. Poor little twat. Like, it's not even his fault, is it? They've spent years indoctrinating him. He's literally grew up. He's grew into adulthood since the world went mad. So it's not Quintez's fault. It's Silicon Valley and the mainstream media's fault. Because when Trump got in the White House, he was what, 17? He spent his formative years when his brain's fucking still growing and all those neurons are nice and squishy. All those neural pathways are nice and squishy in his brain. He's just seen Kathy Griffin holding Trump's head. Yeah. And every day he's seen racist, fascist, Nazi, racist, fascist, Nazi, racist, fascist, Nazi. And he's seen them saying, oh, you know what? You should fear for your safety. But there was people saying like, oh, I'm disabled and I'm terrified Trump's going to be in the White House. Like as if Trump was going to go, right, first thing on the agenda, let's wheel all the cripples into the car crusher. Like, you're living in a fantasy land. And then they present the fantasy land variant to lads like Quintez Brown. And then the poor little cunt goes and tries and blows someone's head off. And it's our fault. Our fault as, again, I'm acting like a communist. It's our fault as a collective. It's our fault as a society for allowing the mainstream media and Silicon Valley to have as much power as they have. And it's specifically their fault. It's the mainstream media's fault. It's the New York Times' fault. It's the Washington Post's fault. It's Facebook's fault, YouTube's fault. They are constantly pushing the narrative that people that aren't left-wing activists are evil, despicable killers. And Quintez Brown has just done the obvious. Quintez Brown has done exactly what you would expect from a young man who's been indoctrinated. And then the icing on top to prove me right, to prove anybody right who's watching, he's literally attempted to fucking murder an innocent man for no reason. And he got bailed out by a BLM fund on Wednesday. Fucking love it. So people will try and argue, oh, no, we're not pro-murdering our political opponents. This young lad, indoctrinated, brainwashed left-wing activist, attempts to murder an innocent man. He wasn't trying to kill a paedophile. He wasn't trying to kill a rapist. He was attempting to kill an innocent man. All that man has done wrong is tried to fucking run for office. And after he tries to kill him in the face, right? Quintez Brown attempts to kill him in the face. BLM bails him straight out. And they say, we aren't pro-murdering our political opponents. Oh, fucking really? What did you pay his bail for then? Right? How simple is this, ladies and gentlemen? It's not rocket science. Even our chum there can fucking get it. They literally attempt to murder someone and BLM go, yeah, we're cool with that. Get our brother out of fucking jail. Mr. Greenberg said it indicates the justice system is broken. No shit, fucking Sherlock. Well, he's clearly got a fully functioning brain, so he's better than 90% of our politicians. Quintez was reportedly an organizer during BLM protests. Fucking brilliant. In the city following the fatal shooting of Breonna Taylor. Again, indoctrinated. It wasn't senseless, brutal murder. It was a fucking accident, wasn't it? The boyfriend was there. The returned fireman, I believe that's when she got shot. It wasn't just a callous murder. They didn't do it on purpose. But he's been told they did it on purpose. So he thinks he's righteous anger, smiting his enemies. Says he's previously worked in youth violence prevention training. Fucking... You couldn't make it up. This is what I mean. The world we're living in is, the truth is stranger than fiction. The peaceable people are being treated like cattle, and the violent ones are being promoted by the mainstream media in Silicon Valley. Like, yeah, everyone disagrees with you guys is a racist. They're basically Hitler. Yeah, and what do you do to people like Hitler? Wasn't their slogan a few years ago, punch a Nazi? So they said you should always punch a Nazi. And then they proceeded to call almost everybody a Nazi. And everyone's going, why are we seeing this uptick in violence? This is weird. Why? What do you mean, why? What do you mean, why? Silicon Valley, YouTube, Facebook, Twitter promote violence, but it's not the minuscule proportion of the Western world that is still daft enough to be a white Nazi nationalist fucker. They promote violence by encouraging left-wing wokists and communists to murder people. They encourage it. And when people like me say, maybe we shouldn't be encouraging them because I said you shouldn't encourage violence, they'll go, oh, well, that marks you as a fucking Nazi, you cunt. Well, why? Because you're pro not murdering Nazis. No, I'm pro not murdering anybody on a whim because you guys call everybody a Nazi. If they only ever hurt a full-blown Nazi, the general public wouldn't be angry about it, would they? Because there wouldn't be that many bodies. There's not that many Nazis. The real problem is you call everybody a Nazi and then you try and hurt them. And the general public's going, hang on, I know that bloke who you just tried to murder. He's a normal fella. I see him walking his dog. He works as a fucking janitor and he minds his own business. He never hurts anyone. But because he wore a Trump hat to a rally once, you've decided he's a neo-Nazi and we should all kill him, right? So, yeah, it's a problem. You guys are promoting violence. YouTube is promoting violence. Facebook is promoting violence. Twitter is promoting violence. The BBC, The Guardian, they are promoting violence. They call everybody that isn't a communist a Nazi, fascist, killer, the lowest of the low. And then they say, don't forget to punch a Nazi. Oh, yeah, punch a Nazi. Yeah. Captain America used to punch Nazis. What, you disagree with me slightly, you cunt? You're a Nazi. Get him. They're basically promoting violence constantly. And then they have the brass neck to tell you that the ones promoting violence are the boring, softly spoken fuckers like Jordan Peterson. He's as pleasant and polite and empathic a man as you'll ever see. I don't really watch him that much because he's too syrupy. Like, he's too nice. He cries all the time and I get uncomfortable when men cry. He sort of cries a lot and it makes me uncomfortable. But he's polite, he's nice. He cries when people tell him sob stories. And he's the villain. He's the Red Skull. This guy who previously worked in youth violence prevention training. Jesus fucking wept. You couldn't make it up, could you? Youth violence prevention training. Brilliant. His lawyer said he suffered of course he did. Yeah, everyone does. Yeah, Jeffrey Dahmer, mental. Yeah. Fred West, he's practically Fred West, this cunt. Yeah, it's not as a result of 4 years of brainwashing by the mainstream media in Silicon Valley. He's basically Fred West. He definitely got a few bodies under his crazy paving. Of course he has. Of course he's fucking mental. It says Monday's gun attack came as Mr. Greenberg was holding a meeting with 4 staff members. Nobody was injured though. A bullet grazed the candidate's sweater. Fucking lucky bastard. Mr. Brown was arrested with a pistol and ammunition. His release after 2 days has provoked criticism. No fucking shit. Police have not discussed any motive. Fucking a left-wing activist. And what was his motive? Just safety was off. It was accident. It is nearly impossible to believe that someone can attempt murder on Monday and walk out of jail on Wednesday, Mr. Greenberg said. It isn't, mate. It's impossible for you because you haven't been paying attention, son. You're a fucking Democrat. You think everything is fine. The house is burning down and you're the dog with the teapot going, this is fine. It's not impossible. It's not impossible. I knew this was going to happen. We, the chat, followers of the Angry Bootneck and all of the normal people on YouTube, of course we knew this was going to happen. Nearly impossible. It is for you, son, because you're a Democrat. You don't have your finger on the pulse, son. Silicon Valley and the mainstream media has been indoctrinating young people for 5 years, and they've been telling them to hurt people that disagree with them, because if they disagree with them, they are fascists. If you disagree with a communist, you are a fascist. You are a Nazi. You clearly are. It's impossible to believe they can walk out of jail. Really? Keeps fucking happening, mate. You guys set up, with loads of actors and singers helping you, set up a fund to release criminals from prison as fast as you could, as long as they were left-wing criminals. Right-wing criminals, fuck their civil rights. He had a Trump hat on. Leave him to fucking rot. Let him to fucking rot. Civil rights? Nah, he's a Nazi anyway. Leave him to fucking rot. We'll dance on his grave. We'll dance on his grave. He wore a Trump hat once, therefore we'll dance on his grave. Fuck him. But you try and shoot someone, murder someone in the face. But you went to a Clinton rally. You're a good person. You're mentally ill. Of course we should let them out of prison. You thick twat. It's not nearly impossible. You're just a fucking idiot, mate. This has been coming fucking for years. Since the day Trump walked in the White House, this has been coming. It's not nearly impossible unless you're a fucking idiot. It's nearly impossible to believe someone that thick can be running for mayor. That's what's nearly impossible to believe. If someone is struggling with a mental illness and is in custody, they should be evaluated and treated. Nazi. That sounds like Nazi shit to me, Greenberg. Oh, Greenberg, possibly is he Jewish? Do you get Jewish Nazis now? There's loads of Jewish people who disagree with communists. And you know what that makes them? Yeah, Nazis. Nazis. Sorry, lifelong Jew. You disagreed with a communist. Basically a Nazi, mate. And you know what Nazis get? What did they tell us? What do Nazis get? Oh, yeah, punched in the fucking face. That's what they get. Suck it up, Buttercup. Suck it up. This is the brave new world you created. You begged for it. You fucking begged for it. You've got your wish, son. I'm glad he's out. I hope you bump into him in fucking Ralph's, mate. I hope you're pushing the trolley through Tesco's. Oops, sorry, bloke that just tried to shoot me in the face. Maybe then the fucking penny will drop. What's he going to do? Ask him to pass us the milk, mate. Whoa. Yeah. I hope the penny's fucking dropped, Greenberg. The mayoral candidate released plans for a community-oriented police force. Gets better and better, doesn't it? This guy was asking for a community-oriented police force. Do you know what? It would have been funny if he took him hostage and when he was, sweaty psycho going mental at the window, I'll kill him, all you can't. He's like, I don't want a fucking sniper bringing down. I don't want a sniper bringing down. No. I demand a social worker. Yeah, not just any. We can't have a male social worker. I want a little fat dwarf social worker in a wheelchair. Get them down here. What, you highly trained former special forces police sniper? Fuck off, son. I'm behind community-oriented police forces. I'd fucking love it. But like I tell you guys all the time, it's the glaring hypocrisy of the left that stuns people, isn't it? Like an animal rights activist who sort of digs up an old lady because she was buried with a fucking fur coat on. If you said to one of these animal rights activists, oh, well, we can save your baby's life because they've got that horrible bone cancer, but we have to give them this drug that was tested on animals, they'd be like, get the fucking drugs. Do it. You know they would. Which is why reasonable centrist people like us, you never make value judgments about people that quickly. You go, let's think about this. Let's think about it logically. Left-wing activists, I want a community-orientated police force. Oh, you don't? You shall I stand down the former special forces snipers then? Fuck off. Blow his fucking head off, son. You know that's what this guy had said. Some fucking communist gunman's got a Glock held to his head. Do you think he's going to say, send in the little fat social workers, or is he going to say, blow the cunt's head off, police sniper? Do me a favour. I love it. I fucking love it. The hypocrisy. On Wednesday, BLM posted his bond. Brilliant. Fucking brilliant. Jail is a final destination for black folks in this state. Well, Chanel, what do you want me to do with a guy who tries to kill me in the face? What do you want me to do? What do you want me to do? Should we give him a fucking lollipop and make him stand outside the elementary school? He only tried to kill someone in the face. Make him a lollipop man. Make him a lollipop man. He'll be good at that. He'll be fucking great. He likes waving things around, pointing them at people. Give him a fucking lollipop. Yeah. Meet your new lollipop man. Yeah. Halt, motherfucker. There's kids trying to go to school. What are you going to do? I just want to ask Chanel, shit for brain Chanel, what do you want me to do? If there's a bloke who's mental and he's trying to murder people with a handgun, what do you want me to do with him? If jail's off the table, tell me what to do with him. What do you want me to do? Put him in a box and post him to fucking Uruguay? What should we do with him? That's stripping him of his freedom. He doesn't want to go to fucking Uruguay. He can't speak. Is he Spanish? Uruguayan. I don't know. I've never fucking been to Uruguay. I'm assuming it's Spanish, Portuguese, Spanish. He doesn't want to go there. Just send him to fucking jail. In Washington, D.C., Republican senators also condemn. Yeah, well, they're allowed to. Mitch McConnell, who I don't like because he looks like a fucking turtle, but he's a self-serving swamp creature. He's at least allowed to condemn him because he hasn't been fucking demanding defunding the police, swap them off for wheelchair-bound lesbian social workers, has he? So at least Mitch McConnell, wanker that he is, at least he can say that without being hypocritical. Less than 48 hours after this activist tried to murder a politician, the radical left bailed their comrade out of jail. Yeah, very, very true, Mitch. So there you go. Mitch is allowed to say that even though he's a twat because he's at least not being a hypocritical twat. Greenberg wants a community-oriented police force. Well, fucking good luck with that, son. Good luck with your community-oriented police force. And when they're raping your wife to death, a Marxist with a fucking hand cannon has just blew your face off and he's shagging your wife until she dies. Just remember, you wanted fucking Stephen Hawking to come round and talk him down. Me, I'd be happy with a former Navy SEAL kicking the front door off its hinges and giving the cunt both barrels. But what do I know? I'm just a fucking wacko. I'm one of those despicable, reasonable centrists that likes conversations instead of gunfights. What do I know? Anyway, right, that was nearly an hour again. Fucking hell, I spoil you cunts, I do. Thanks, everyone, for listening. Have a great weekend. It's Friday. Get pissed, enjoy yourselves, laugh at the world as it burns around us. Chuckle heartily when you read about the next reasonable centrist getting thrown off the fucking air while they promote murder in the name of communism. Just chuckle away. It's all you can do. And look after yourselves, because you can't rely on the state to do it, can you? Right. Thanks to everyone for watching. Thanks for liking it and sharing it and all that bollocks for all the fucking good it does. Well done to, I forget the name of my competition winner. I'll go and check in a minute. And yeah, don't forget to send me your address. All right. Cheers all. Have a good weekend. I will see you on Monday. Toodle fucking pip. All the best. Cheers.